some screaming heavy metal! We rock!
But the evil that men do lives on.
We gonna bang your head!
You are now listening to the Music Mania Podcast, a hard-hitting show featuring all things hard rock and heavy metal. And now here are your hosts, the Twins of Chaos, Clint Switzer and Paul Lagana.
Locked and loaded and so excited for you to be joining us here on the Music Mania Podcast. Clint Switzer, my partner, he is my travel companion, he is my partner in crime, Paul Lagana. Welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Clint,
what's been up?
We are locked and loaded, as you say, for another great podcast. It is the first week of May, and I am pumped to bring this show to everybody.
We have a big show, Paul, today coming up because our special guest is the sexy. We don't get a lot of sexy guests on our show. I mean, this is kind of a rarity. So Madame Mayhem, someone to look out for. Her new album is Now You Know. It's been out since October, and it is a star-studded lineup. I cannot wait to talk to Madame. She had a huge, like I said, star-studded lineup that produced by Billy Sheehan from Mr. Big, one of the best bass players of all time, and he played on the album. Ray Luzier from Korn. Bumblefoot played guitar on the album. Russ Parrish, Satchel, from Steel Panther, and Corey Lowry all played on this album. Madame Mayhem, she's one of the best females out there today, man. I love to see the females out there rocking. She's one of the best ones going today. And check her out, man, at Mayhem Official, Twitter, social medias, hit her up, man.
Absolutely, and she has a cornucopia of bandmates for this album that just Now You Know that just came out in October. The thing that I like about her is her look. What a unique look she's got.
Yeah, I think it blends a lot of things. You can see the influence. You can see maybe the Marilyn Manson, maybe the Wasp, maybe the old school stuff. I see like the theatrical part of her show. She's on tour right now with Mushroomhead, and I think she's got a show tonight in Syracuse, New York. So it's going to be interesting to hear from her from the road, probably from her tour bus. Catching up with her is great. And as always, Paul, hit us up on all of our social medias. Thanks for downloading on iTunes, and you can also download the Double Pod app. If you're like me and you're an Android user and you don't get like the podcast side of the Apple Music thing, which has been baffling to me, download the Double Pod app. It's got all the iTunes stuff on there, our stuff, Music Mania Podcast, search for it. And of course, all of our stuff is archived on YouTube as well. But hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, man, even Instagram if you want to see pictures of Paul and I, which I know everybody does.
Yeah, well,
we have a lot of female fans, I hear.
Pictures are outstanding, I think. So, yeah, hit us up. And also, I just want to mention about Madame Mayhem. As a female in the male world, dominated, obviously, by men, she is finding a success in this world that I think will absolutely.
It's hard to stand out for women. It's hard to rise above because you're like you said, it's a male-dominated world. And some of my favorite rockers of all time. I mean, for me, Doro Pesch is probably one of my up there. The metal queen, and Madame actually toured with her earlier this year. Going to ask her about that. Of course, you got their Lita Ford's guitar goddess. I mean,
loved Lita Ford absolutely.
And you talked about Vixen.
Vixen was one of my favorites back in the mid
Femme Fatale.
Femme Fatale.
I love Femme Fatale.
Absolutely.
Still working on Lorraine to get her on the show. Lorraine, if you're listening, let's make it happen.
Lorraine. We got to make this happen.
But females in this world, it's a rarity, but when it does, they stand out, and especially if they're good. Madame has a wonderful voice. She has a very operatic, almost Amy Lee from Evanescence sounding voice, and I don't say that in a negative way because I'm not a big Evanescence fan, but I think she has that quality, that Evanescence, that Amy Lee sound in her voice. She's operatic sounding.
And she mixes that with the uniqueness of her look, and everybody should check her out.
And it is our pleasure here on the Music Mania Podcast. Clint Switzer, Paul Lagana sitting in here, and we are getting ready to bring on the beautiful, the sexy, the vivacious. It is Madame Mayhem. Madame, welcome to the show. How's everything going? I know you got a show tonight in Syracuse. Your tour just kicked off. How's everything going?
Yeah, everything's great. Thanks for having me. We're actually, I'm on the bus right now outside of our venue in Syracuse at the moment, and everything's going great so far. It's show number 3, and it's been a lot of fun, and can't wait to keep going.
Well, you're on tour right now with Mushroomhead, 2 very theatrical acts. I mean, how cool is that? You just finished up a tour with Doro, the metal queen, earlier in the year. Here you are with Mushroomhead. I mean, how cool has it been for you? You've just been on a wild ride here this year, that one with your new album. I mean, how awesome has that been for you?
It's been an amazing experience. I mean, my entire life, all I've ever wanted to do is tour and play live on stage, because as much as I love making music and writing and recording, live performance is my favorite thing. So to be able to get off one tour and jump right onto another is been a dream come true.
Well, you talk about sitting there on your bus, your hours before a show. Everyone talks about the glamorous life of a traveling rocker. And what's it like for you? You said you're just chilling on your bus, giving us a call. So, you can't be up to anything too glamorous. If you're talking to us, it can't be all that glamorous. So you get a lot of downtime, I assume, during the day.
Yeah, it's a lot of hurry up and wait, but I have plenty to do during the wait time. The bands and I are doing the merch table ourselves, so we get to meet all the fans, which we love to do. So, we're setting that up and, making calls to wonderful people like yourself. So there's always something going on, and it's always great, and it's the calm before the storm.
Well, we got to talk about, absolutely, and we got to talk about this new album. It's Now You Know, and it's my opinion, definitely your best work, and it has been out since October, crazy enough. It's been out since then, and it was produced by Billy Sheehan. You had Ray Luzier on there, you had Bumblefoot on there, you had Russ Parrish, who's Satchel from Steel Panther. Talk about just all-star lineup that you put together for this. Do you consider this kind of a career-defining moment for you?
Yeah, I'm really proud of this album. I think it really expresses who I am as an artist now. I love the work I've done before. Of course, they're all my babies, but I think this record really is an evolution of where I want to be musically and as an artist and as a person. And I spilled my guts out making this record, and I hope that people can relate to it as well. And just having all these amazing artists work with me on it was a real treat. And I still can't get over it, how great, I could be listening to the song. I'm not even listening to myself singing it. I'm listening to, oh my God, that Bumblefoot solo on that fretless guitar during Witchcraft is like my favorite thing. I'm thinking about all the stuff these incredible talents contributed to this record, and I just love it. It's really exciting.
Awesome. So, Madam, you have a very unique look and sound. What went into forming that look, and what are some of your musical influences?
I have a very eclectic taste in music, and I think how it happened to become so into hard rock and metal just was, I grew up, my mom started playing grunge music because she was sick of all the baby tape, and then as I got older, it just got, heavier and heavier and heavier, and there's just so many influences, whether it's Pat Benatar or, Ozzy, Dio, it's all those great acts, and in terms of my look, I've always been into this look. I love leather, spikes, lace, and I've always been into that, and being able to just make that a bit more heightened when I'm on stage is a lot of fun because I love it. It's a lot of fun, and it's not really a persona. It's more of just me wearing things I like to wear and just making it a little more theatrical for the stage.
Well, you talk about the theatrics, and I think that's one thing. I think it was Dee Snider that once said something along the lines of, when you're backstage, when you're checking people out at a concert, you should not be able to look around you and wonder who's in the band. By that, he means you should be able to look at these guys that come in or these women that come in and that's the band right there. They have a look, something over the top. And I think that's what's always been something for me that caught me as, somebody just as a kid, Kiss and Motley Crue and those bands. How much did you look to that and those type of bands? Even like the Wasp and Lizzie Borden, to me, you have a lot of that going on. Does that all kind of contribute to your look and sound?
Yeah, I guess. It's funny because I wear all the spikes and the leather, and someone, was like, "Wow, that's very Judas Priest of you," and I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't even realize that," because it's just a look that I love to do. And then when I thought of it, I was like, I guess, it just is, and there are always those influences that you don't even notice that, you can draw from. And I think just for me, it's just being as theatrical and as unique as I can be in terms of my own style. I never try to look like anyone else, or I don't try to necessarily look like a performer. It's just what I think will be, the most entertaining on stage and whatnot. And there are a lot of great acts that have come before me that have done the same thing. So I think it's awesome.
It is awesome. And as a female in a metal world dominated by men, do you find it more difficult to achieve success in that era?
When I started out, I didn't notice it that much. And then, as I'm going, I kind of see a little bit of the differences that maybe some fans or even industry might place, whether it's a dude or a chick doing the metal. But there's been more and more of us women taking over. So I think now it's getting a lot easier, and you notice it a little bit. But once once people can see that you can do what you say you can do, it doesn't matter if you're a chick or a dude, because honestly, if you have the talent and you have the drive, then it doesn't matter. And so I think every day is proving yourself no matter who you are. So I'm in the process of doing that as we speak.
Absolutely. And, I ask a lot of the people we interview this, but do you have kind of a moment that stands out for you, kind of a defining moment where maybe, you heard something, you saw something on MTV back when they played music, or something to that effect where you said, oh my God, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. I mean, it happens for all of us. The only difference is there's actual people with talent out there like you, and then people like us have to ask you the question. So, I mean, do you have a moment like that stands out?
You know what? I've been wanting to do this since birth, actually, because I can't even remember a time when I didn't want it. I forced my parents as a very young child to enroll me in vocal lessons, dance classes, acting classes, and I knew I always wanted to write music, and I knew I wanted to be in a band. That was always what I wanted to do my entire life, and every time I saw people like that, on TV, I knew I was like, I'm going to be there soon. It was never like, oh, I really want to do that. It was, I already knew that was what I wanted to do. So I'm still that little kid, pursuing it at the moment.
Well, it's tremendous, and I think that's what, keeps music going. I mean, it's so hard these days. It just seems to be a whole different ballgame. You've got things like American Idol that produce more rock stars today than anything, and I think that's sort of where it lacks. I mean, do you feel like that music suffers today because there's not a lot of bands out there like yourself that are out there like touring, burning down the road, earning your stripes, doing the season? Do you think music and metal specifically suffers from that? Because I mean, there's not a lot of people out there like you that are gaining success the old-fashioned way, really.
Right. I think it's hard now for people to tour, like even for us, to get out on the road and really just play, because even though that's all we want to do and get this music out there, I think now that the industry's changed a lot, apparently before I even got into it, it changed significantly. And it's just hard for bands to, be able to get out here. And I feel very lucky that I am able to do it. And I think everyone suffers, whether it's the musicians, the bands, or the fans themselves. I think it really, I think because of the industry change, that was affected. And because not as many people are out playing loud and hustling, then the music industry has to change. So it's kind of like what comes first, chicken or the egg, in terms of, how it affects it. But if any bands can just go out and play as much as they can, that's definitely the way to do it, because you want to reach people that, relate to you and feel you, and you're not going to really do that if you're, trying to do it, whether it's over the internet only or over, the TV show. You got to really feel the raw passion, and that's kind of also the high I get off of the fans. I feel it when I'm on stage, and it's just incredible.
Well, you definitely feel real, like somebody that you can get behind and that is not fake by any means. Like you said, you've wanted to do this since birth, and it's just sort of something that, luckily you've been able to live out this dream. But I want to get in to the video Monster that's from the new album, Now You Know. Of course, it's been out since October. We mentioned that before. I love this video. I love the song. It might be my favorite song on the album. But let's talk about the video. You in a straitjacket. And I just, what was the kind of the concept for the video? How did it come about? And just, how did you feel? I mean, I'm sure it was hours and hours of you just writhing around in a straitjacket. It looks kind of uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to incorporate a straitjacket in a video of some kind. I have no idea why. I think it's because a lot of the things that I write about are, being confined and being, whether it's by society or Monster is really about breaking out and embracing your own monster and, like whatever that is within you and being yourself. And I was getting told what I should do, who I should be on all different ends, and I was just getting really frustrated. And because of that, I just decided to embrace exactly who I am, who I wanted to be, and that's what really the evolution into the song. So we started off in a straitjacket and broke out and caused a lot of mayhem. And the video shooting was a lot of fun, but it was very hot, to be honest. Industrialism Films, awesome company. They did the videos with me, and for Monster, we were in a warehouse in LA in July. So it was an authentic straitjacket, and a lot of hours of that. It got real hot real fast. but it was still a lot of fun. But I learned a valuable lesson, and that is try not to go crazy because it's not that comfortable.
Yes, you want to stay away from that straight jacket in the future, of course. But I want to ask you, do you feel kind of some pressure when you talk about meeting fans? And I know that's so important for people, bands like yourselves. I mean, is there a pressure that comes with that? Because especially with your look and your sound, do you ever feel like you kind of have to live up to that when you meet a fan that maybe, off stage, I mean, just talking right now, you're just a completely down-to-earth, sweet individual. A lot of your lyrical content, a lot of your music, your videos are very, visual, very kind of, I don't want to use the word gothic. That's just not what I'm trying to get out. But they're along those lines, you know what I'm saying? Is there pressure to meet fans like that just kind of perceive you as that?
Well, no, I mean, I am exactly how I am talking to you as I am when I talk to fans, and I just look the way I look. It's
sure.
Like, it's one of those things, like, there's stereotypes of all kinds, right? So you see someone scary looking like me walking around, and you think I'm going to be like some crazy, mean person, and that's just not the case. And I think it's actually cool that I don't play a part of something that I'm not. Madame Mayhem is me. I am Madame Mayhem. It's not like I'm people don't call me something else off stage, and then I get on stage and I become this. I am this all the time. So I don't mind, it's not a lot of pressure to meet the fans and just be, normal, because
sure.
That's just what it is. And I think when I'm on stage, I definitely, I'm a little more intense because I'm driving off the energy of the fans and of the songs. I'm writing off of real experiences. So a lot of my frustrations came out while writing this record. So when I hear a song start like Monster and we start playing that guitar riff, I get into that character. I express exactly how I was feeling when I was writing the song, and then that's why it becomes very theatrical and whatnot. And it's just embodying the work that I'm trying to create.
Well, how empowering are your performances to the female fans in the audience? Because I think that one thing that has always kind of been the cliche, I guess, is that metal doesn't attract female fans. That's just not what happens. Now, of course, there's a line that was blurred with that, especially in the '80s, and of course that's kind of where a lot of female fans did come over with bands like Def Leppard, Bon Jovi. Of course, that's they bridge the gap between metal and rock. But for you, how empowering is it to play in front of female fans? And I'm sure it's got to be gratifying after a show when you hear someone that's influenced to pick up an instrument or to start performing themselves or to get into the genre. I mean, that's got to be just a great feeling. I'm sure you've had experiences like that.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. Whether it's a girl or a guy that comes up to me and just is moved by whether it's a specific song or just the performance in general, I get excited. I'm like, can I get a picture with you more than they want with me? Because I just think it's so great that people can connect on that kind of level if they've never met me before, and they can see a performance and then just come back to narcissist and be like, that was awesome, and it inspires me. And whenever I see a chick, I get really excited because I was always like the Lone Ranger going to all these shows, going out. I was like the only chick that would go, and I was like, well, what's going on? This is like badass music. Why can't other people want to come with me? And the more girls I see, the more excited I get, because then I'm like, all right, now I don't have to go to shows all by myself anymore.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, if I'm have my information correct, you kind of grew up around the area in New Jersey, New York area. I mean, what was your family like? I mean, as far as letting you go to shows, I mean, kind of describe what your upbringing was like, and then some maybe your memorable concerts growing up.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, my parents, and they still are, very supportive. They think I'm nuts, but they support it anyway. But I started off, in musical theater, actually, and I'm classically trained as an opera singer, so I was always doing shows, whether it was Broadway shows or, that. But then whenever I had off or I wasn't in a show, I'd go to, like, the local emo, I guess you could say, gathering or whatever was, like, really close by where I could get to by myself. And, they were supportive as long as they knew where I was. They weren't too freaked out with the type of music I was listening to or anything like that. They were very open. So I was lucky, and having parents like that let me, be exposed to all different types of music, and it gave me, a clear choice as to what I wanted to do because I was the one making that decision. So all different shows. A lot of the bands that I look up to, I didn't get to see till later on, and I still haven't seen. Like, hadn't seen Metallica. I just saw Judas Priest a couple of years ago. I saw a bunch of, actually, this is going to sound weird, but I actually try to go to a lot of Incubus shows. which is a lot of people think it's weird for me. But I don't know. I just like how they do their live performances. So it's like it doesn't need to be necessarily hardcore metal for me to want to go to the show. And I just try to go see as much live music as I can, whether it's in an arena or in a small club. And that's what I've been trying to do my whole life, because you'll discover bands and you'll be like, oh, they're the best band and my favorite band in the whole world, and no one's ever heard of them, and you have that special connection, you know?
Yes, absolutely, and something that's missing more today. But bands like you, performers like you, keeping that alive. And Matt, I'm going to tell you what, huge fan of the album. Now I know you're going to be busy for the next month or two here on the road, and I just hopefully we can catch up with you at one of these shows down the road. Come up and say hello, because it's just been such a pleasure talking to you. And we look forward to catching up. We wish you nothing but the best. You're an awesome performer. The album is great, and just all good things, darling. We just love it. We love it all.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And yes, definitely try to come out to a show. Let me know. Give me a heads up. Would love to say hi.
You betcha, madam.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Have a great show tonight.
All right, thanks.
So the new album is called Now You Know. The new video is called Monster. The artist is Madame Mayhem. Check her out.
Absolutely, at Madame Official on Twitter, on Instagram. Make sure you hit her up, guys. She's someone worth following, worth getting behind, because artists like this today are rare, and it's hard to find someone that goes about it the right way, the hard way, and pays their dues. That's what she's done. She's really hit it big with this album, and you love to see that. You love to see someone have success, and they still need your support. I mean, that's how someone like this pays their bills, and you got to support music like this, or if you don't, you won't have artists like this out there anymore.
Right.
You'll have nothing but American Idol people.
She's as hardworking as they come, so please check her out. The name is Madame Mayhem. Thanks, Clint. What a show, buddy.
Thank you so much, Paul, for sitting in here with me. Guys, thanks so much for joining us here on the Music Mania Podcast. Be sure to continue to hit us up on our social medias, Music Mania, at Music Mania Show on Twitter. Just search us on Facebook. You'll find us, man. Hit us up. Download us on iTunes. Give us a good star rating or else. Thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you guys next time. Keep rocking or else.
Later.